Oh.
What up, my dude?
Hey, buddy, how you doing?
Good.
Good.
Okay. Well, Tom, you know how we have to start every pod now.
No, that's the thing, yeah.
Are you trying? Or is it not?
Talk about sports. Yeah, sports. Talk about sports. Yeah, sports. Talk about sports. Sports Tuesday. Talk about sports. Talk about sports. Sports Tuesday. Talk about sports.
Get into it. All right, so welcome back to the Scuttle, everybody. We have got an incredible episode for you today. I'm joined, almost as always, by my co-host, Alec Ramali. Today, we're going to be talking about some comic book shows. Big shocker for everybody, but these ones we're going to go a little more mainstream for everybody else.
Well, it's funny. It's mainstream, but also like kind of. I mean, it's not as like deep as the comic book stuff we talk about. But I don't know how many people actually watch these shows.
From what I can tell at my job, a decent amount of people, like people that don't actually like the people that I don't talk about Marvel stuff with, have been like, yeah, I watched The Boys, yeah, I watch Invincible.
Oh, no kidding. Okay,
Yeah.
I didn't really know. Okay, nice. Well, spoiler, that's what we're talking about.
Yeah, we're talking The Boys, we're talking Invincible today. And we got a nice little twist we're going to do it. We're going to treat a couple of different characters from both of these shows as if we're watching them on a combine. It feels a little remiss to not have Bill with us, but I don't know for sure that he watches Invincible and The Boys. And I also know for a fact that he had a birthday party last night, so if Bill's upright right now, I'm impressed, my friend. Like, I've been to one of your birthday parties before, and I was hurting the next day.
Yeah, I would be hurting too.
Yeah.
Well, Bill, I hope you are feeling well. Bill is coming on a pod eventually, though.
Yes, when we do our next Daredevil pod, probably when this upcoming season wraps up, either before or after Spider-Man, depending on how we feel and timing and all that. Bill will definitely be on that podcast for sure.
Yeah, Bill is a secret. He's deeper into the Marvel lore now than I am. Like,
Marvel Rivals hooked that boy. Yeah, he's gotten into it.
Like, he dropped some ball knowledge. I'm like, damn, okay, Bill's on
it. He asked me some questions the other day. I'm like, Bill, these questions are great fucking questions. Like,
it's great.
You have no idea the weird shit that they could be doing on this goddamn show. Like, it's not even half of what, like, I'm gonna get distracted talking about Bullseye. All right, let's get into The Boys and Invincible. So, how do you want to start this off? You want to go show by show, like with a synopsis?
Let's start with a little bit of just premises of both.
Okay.
I think. So, both of these shows are Amazon properties, funny enough. Both of them I put in my notes are like kind of somewhat making fun of the superhero space. The Boys in a far more biting, acidic way. Invincible in more of a sort of wink-wink, sincere, like, fanboy way of just like we're aware of the tropes but we love them anyway type thing.
Those are big things when it comes to like the comics they're being both adapted from too. Like Robert Kirkman, when he wrote Invincible, was very much a love letter to both Marvel and DC. He even has a crossover. Like Invincible goes into the Marvel universe at one point in the comics.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, and Marvel. I actually have that issue right here. I bought they did a re-release version of it. I got it right here for us. It is Marvel Team Up. What is it? 14. Marvel Team Up 14. Invincible Spider-Man. While Spider-Man's on the Avengers, with the new Avengers, with Sentry and Luke Cage and all that, like that Brian Michael Bendis years, it's a fun issue.
That's fun.
Yeah, Kirkman's writing as a love letter to these things, whereas Garth Ennis, who wrote The Boys, like the original comic, Garth Ennis famously hates superheroes.
Oh, I didn't like he hates. Like
he hates Superman. He hates Spider-Man. He hates. He's a very much a dark, gritty dude. Like a lot, like the best comics he writes are usually things that don't have to do with superheroes. Like the only Marvel thing he's ever really written is Punisher, and like that's his main that's his biggest, most effective work. But Punisher never goes up against like a comic supervillain during his run.
Interesting. Okay. Well, that's good context because we'll just go into a brief summary of each. So the boys, actually, I'll do Invincible, you do the boys. Just briefly
Okay.
overview what the boys is. And then
Uh,
Invincible is an animated show, like Tom said, written by Kirkman, I believe, right? Robert Kirkman wrote it?
Yep,
Or
Robert
at least
Kirkman wrote it, and he works very closely on the show as well, which is
Yes.
a huge, because Garth Ennis does not work on the boys at all.
And I don't want to spoil. I guess we are. It gets to the point where we're going to get into a lot of spoilers. It starts off following this guy named Mark Grayson, who is the son of. Well, he's at first a regular powered person. Eventually, he gets superpowers pretty soon after his father, who his father is what I also would call the Superman pastiche.
He's absolutely a Superman pastiche,
Yeah.
and he's also
And-
weirdly fascist.
Yes, and he is more or less like a space Nazi. Like you end up being discovered that he is a part of this race of aliens. There's like the strongest in the entire known universe, and is trying to essentially colonize each planet across the whole universe. This is all revealed in the end of the first season, so sorry for spoiling it. Really good show, but like I said, this one also dark, like has its moments, but it's an animated show. It's not meant for kids, but
No.
it's much more kid friendly than the boys for sure. I would say.
Yes. I mean, and solely from the fact that there's just like significantly less blood in this. There's not saying that there's not any blood in this. There's a lot of blood in Invincible, especially this last season. Disembowelings are happening so much in this season. It felt like a season of Game of Thrones.
It's a lot of
yeah.
things.
Well, and then once you learn like how Viltrumites work, it kind of makes sense. Like that's what they do. Yeah.
Yes. So that's the premise of the show. Both are really good, and honestly, shows that I have been watching all of them since they came out, but they were shows for me that like I don't think I've ever. I'm not kidding when I say this. I don't think I've ever talked to another person about either of these shows.
That's
Maybe my
fascinating,
brother about
yeah.
Invincible. I've never talked about these shows, but I've always watched them, which is weird. Like I'm still excited to watch them. I enjoy watching them, but I just they exist in this weird world where they run in the background. Like if someone asks me what I'm watching, I've never said, "Oh, I'm watching this," but I've always enjoyed them. They're in The Boys. This is its final season, so Tom and I thought it would be a good time to recap The Boys and what it means to us.
Yeah,
and
not to
good show.
mention, spoiler. So I've read Invincible. I haven't read The Boys because I haven't heard good things about the actual like writing of it. More so that the ideas and the stories behind it are very interesting. So I do know everything that happened in The Boys comics. But I did
Nice.
read, or I've read the back half of Invincible, and let me tell you, like this last season is a huge turning point in the tone of the show.
And we talked about that.
Yeah, things are about to get real, and for The Boys, things are about to wrap up, except for their prequel that they're doing, which is
Which is good too.
yeah, which I'm excited for because it'll give me more Jensen Ackles and it'll give me more Aya Cash, which I love Aya Cash as well.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, right.
But let's move into Invincible. Also a great show.
Beautiful show.
Probably this is. I'm glad I'm asking you this question, Tom. What is your favorite animated American show of all time?
That's a tricky one. I want to preface this real quick for
You
a
can pick
lot of
any.
people that have a lot of confusion about a certain animated show. Looney Tunes is not an animated show. Looney
Okay,
Tunes is a
yeah.
series of short films that were released before movies throughout the 30s all the way up to like the 60s.
Okay.
It did get released later as like a TV series, but those are all like it's like a re-release. It's not a TV show. It's not an anime TV show.
Fair. Okay, that's a good caveat.
Because at the end of the day, if you're asking me to pick animated characters, I'm always picking Bugs because Bugs wins every fight. Except for one fight, and if anybody can tell me the dude that wins that fight, I'll be shocked. I'll marry that person even if it's a dude. Like I'd be like, yeah, we'll just do a partnership. Like you're a dude I can talk to every single fucking day. You're the only person other than Alec that I can talk to every day about this shit.
Yeah, I can't answer that question. So
No
I'd be
one fucking can. It's a weird ass little bird. Oh my god. Anyway, if I'm picking an American animated show, I'm picking Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Yep, I was thinking that's one's probably like the gold standard. I would say
That is my gold standard for an animated show for multiple levels. One, the message of that show I resonate very, very hard with. It is It's very Captain America in its message,
Yes.
I would say. Like, it's very much that, like, you know, war is sometimes necessary, but it is never good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, yeah,
100%.
they at 100% they needed to go to war against the Fire Nation, but it sucked for everybody. It sucked for the Fire Nation too, and that's my favorite. Like, season 3 of that show is really, oh, like, mwah.
It's great stuff. And the reason I ask is I watching Invincible made me want to rewatch Avatar because Invincible's like moving up the list for me. Like
Yes.
after this last season, and like everything I'm hearing is that like you don't even know what's. I can't.
If
say
they
how
can
many-
maintain the quality of adaptation to what the back half of Invincible is, then it will replace Avatar for me. Because it does, it covers a lot of the same themes and even goes a lot further. Like,
yes, and people who have like whose opinion I respect have said similar things that like if you like it now, just wait. And like in particular, and like I said, like I really want to watch it because the show has. I do think I like Invincible more than The Boys even.
Yeah. After this season, yeah, because
The Boys is great.
I was really
But-
worried for this season that the animation would make a big drop off because it's hard to keep an animation studio like this for so long unless you're in Japan, and we'll get into that difference in a minute.
I do want to talk
Because
about that,
I know you wanted to. But like they've managed to maintain it for the most part, or at
Yes.
least where it matters, and that's really impressive.
And I would say like particularly to Bill, like if you're getting deep, like I just think if you really fuck with Marvel stuff, like in general Marvel comic stuff, like I just think Invincible does such a good job of like really doing the I am aware of how silly this is at times, these tropes, this genre that I love, but I still love it anyway. I'm a sucker for that sort of thing, and Invincible nails that tone. And they just have a lot of really good moments throughout the show. But the show also is like, it has real emotional depth, too. Like, it really is like trying, like, it does not, this is not like a straight good guys win, bad guy loses. Like, there's real topics discussed. There's abortion, there's suicide. I mean, it's a real show with real thoughts.
Yeah, it gets very real very fast, kind of like The Boys does, but in a very different way.
Yes,
like it feels more. It's very. I'd say it's much more like the OG Spider-Man comics in that regard. It's very much like trying to figure out how you pay rent in that type of shit and live life while with superpowers and stuff. And Invincible, thankfully, takes that like a step further and saying like, what if you were, set against your own people? What if you were one of two people and had to go to war about it and all that type of stuff? Like it feels like, I guess the best way to describe it would be like, what if someone was allowed to write over 100 issues of Spider-Man and end it however they wanted, instead of having to revert to the status quo of what they wanted. And that's that's a big part of why Invincible is the way it is.
Yes, and I think you tapped into a good like Spider-Man comp because like Mark Grayson as a character has a very like Peter Parker-esque sort of like I'm a person who's overwhelmed. I'm a person who's like I have a moral compass, but sometimes I don't like it points me in directions that I wasn't anticipating. Like the similarities between Mark Grayson and Peter Parker are they're there. They're definitely
there, and they're there for a reason. And unfortunately, it's not because Mark Grayson is really based off of Peter Parker. It's because Mark Grayson is based off Nightwing.
No kidding.
That's why his last name is Grayson.
Oh, that's so fun.
Yeah.
I love
Kirkman has said Kirkman's a dude that like if you ask him who's better, Batman or Superman, he says Nightwing. And that, and for me, I think that's the correct answer. Like if you're telling me to choose between Batman and Superman, we all know that like with prep time, Batman can win that fight because all you need is kryptonite, and Superman has his moral code and stuff. But like Nightwing can call anybody. That's what people don't understand is what makes Dick Grayson such a great character in the comics, and what's making Mark Grayson such a great character in Invincible, because he's got all these connections with the Coalition of Planets, with the Guardians of the Globe. And, you know, as much as he doesn't really like Cecil, he's still connected to Cecil. Now he's connected to the Demon Underworld, which is like an expansion that Robert Kirkman's doing through the Herm thing. Not to pull from, you know, something I always pull from, but Monkey D. Luffy's greatest asset.
I knew you were going there. As soon as you said not to pull, I was like, oh, this is going to be...
Straw Hat Luffy, future king of the pirates. He may be able to stretch and do all kinds of crazy things with his body. The fact of the matter is, if you fight Luffy, you end up as his friend at the end. And that's terrifying for a lot of people.
Which is true. And, like, yeah, in Mark Grayson, he is, like... that's great about the Nightwing thing.
And it's very important for his arc going forward as well. Not to spoil too much, but like his ability to create connections is undeniably important in the future.
Okay. But to say like, but I think The Boys does a good job, or excuse me, Invincible does. So like the first episode of Invincible, which I rewatched in preparation for this, is Omni-Man, who's Mark Grayson's dad, who again is the Superhero stand-in, who literally just murders the entire Justice League stand-in. They're called the Guardians of the Galaxy. Opens up, really pretty violent, absolutely tears them apart. Pretty violent, gruesome, and it was like, and I literally from that moment I was hooked. I was like, wow, that is a really cool.
That's like the end of the first 6-issue arc in the comic, and that's when like sales exploded for that comic.
Oh, really? Is that right?
Yeah, because I mean, you can't start off with that. Like start of Invincible. It seems like it starts very much like, oh, like this is just a superhero story of like what would happen if Superman had a son. Okay, that's interesting. I like that. Oh, Superman just killed the whole fucking Justice League. Okay, this is a different fucking comic. Okay. What do we do from here?
And that's just how like season 1 is all about. Like, in the show, it's like. And the show also engages with a lot of different mediums too. Like you're in space a bunch. You're doing time travel. You're doing portal travel.
Yeah, it's very Marvel in that regard, in that it touches every genre. Which
it does.
When it comes to Marvel comics, like that, they're much better at that than DC is.
Yes, they are, and like it really gives it the show this sort of like scope that is like, you know, this like it just feels all encompassing when you're in it, a lot bigger. Because it's like literally the entire galaxy, you know, which is kind of cool in that sense. So Invincible and so the other thing about like the Invincible show is that Tom and I really enjoyed is like, so I'll let you tee this one up. The show is like very like I said, it's like it really wrestles with like morality, you know, and I think like you had the think mark as one of your favorite moments in Invincible, which was a great one to call out. You should just like, because I think this does a good job of encapsulating why I think the show is so awesome, you know.
And for me, this is where it gets really into the ideologies of the show, because you know, as much as like I disagree with Nolan has a point. So
100%. Yes.
At the climax of season 1, Mark finds out that his dad has killed the Guardians of the Globe and confronts him and tries to find out why he's doing this, and it turns out that Mark's or Nolan's alien empire is not as benevolent as he seems. They have been going to planets trying to find potential outposts for their empire to expand and increase their population, and now that it's been confirmed that Mark has powers and that Viltrumites can breed with Earthlings, the Empire's coming, and he's going to prep the Earth for their arrival. The Viltrumites are Darwinian in the sense that they believe in strongest of the fittest. Season 4, we learn a lot about that, about their culture and stuff. And you know, as much as, you know, I hate any sort of superiority and genocide all over that, the Viltrumites might have a point that they are better than most people. They can move through space while controlling their inertia. They have insane healing abilities that would make Superman blush. And anything short of heat vision, they're basically just as strong as Superman, especially when it comes to Thrag. Um,
100%.
but at the end of the day, Mark's still human. He decides to fight his dad, even though he's going to lose. And Nolan beats the shit out of Mark.
Beats the shit out of him. And like I will say, the show is violent. Like it is not like
Yeah,
this
no,
is
like
Dragon Ball
Nolan
Z.
beats the living shit out of his son
And you
to
feel
an almost
it.
like if it wasn't for the fact that Mark is a Viltrumite, he'd be unrecognizable afterwards. It'd be like
Yeah,
it'd be like the worst car crash you've ever fucking seen. And he gets to a point where he gets like Nolan gets frustrated with Mark, saying like, "We're Viltrumites. We're gonna live for thousands and thousands of years.
Yes.
Think for a second. Like, no matter what, they're coming. They're gonna live for thousands of years. Think you're in 1,000 years. What are you going to have left? This whole planet is going to be fucking gone. Like whether Viltrum comes or not, everyone you know is going to be fucking dead. So what the fuck are you doing?"
And it's really cool. And like I said, like there's a real actual sort of like you said, there is you obviously don't necessarily have to agree with Nolan, but it is a very
it does make sense. Like thinking of because I mean, so from Mark's perspective, he's been raised as a human. He only thinks in a human perspective. He only thinks 80 years at the time.
Right.
By the time Nolan was 80 years old, he probably wasn't like allowed to drive a car in terms of Viltrumite culture.
Right. Exactly. It'd be like 10.
Yeah, he's 2,000 years old. Like that's crazy. Humans are a blink of his eye.
Totally. And it does kind of, and they explore that of like how much like was the.
Oh, they're going to keep exploring it, buddy. They keep exploring it.
Yeah. And it's like, it is like, it was so, like, Mark's like, wait, was my mom, was she like a pet to you? Like, there's like real.
Yeah, no, like, that whole thing is like, and that one is, you know, even more hard to explain because, like, can you consider a conscious being a pet? Like, that's fucked up in its own kind of way. But in terms of, like, thinking, like, you know, she's going to live for, like, I'm definitely going to outlive her. I'm going to outlive her by a hilariously long amount of time. That makes sense to think about as a pet.
Right. And there's just really interesting moments. And, like, that's when the show, like, that was a really cool moment on the show. And I would say, like, a lot of the, you know, and this is why I like anime. And I think, and I said, like, this show feels like, you know, anime, I feel like, really reaches for emotional complexity while still giving you, like, you know, the fun action and animation. And Invincible, like, is the closest I've seen other than Avatar to really kind of reaching for that. And they really do a good job. And, like, when I had that think mark, it was really good. It was like, damn, okay.
Yeah.
And it's worth calling out that J.K. Simmons, which we'll get into later, does the voice work for it and is an absolutely out. J.K. Simmons did J. Jonah Jameson, Whiplash. You would know him if you saw him.
Yeah.
And is an outstanding voice actor, really good. And it's a really like dramatic, powerful scene. It really is.
It's intense. And the reason I put that as one of my favorite moments is that thought is kind of in Mark's head throughout the whole series and pops up at the very end as well. And it's very nice the way it pops up at the end. I don't want to spoil too much, but
nice. But I will say, like, there's a lot in that. Like, I think why I like that think mark is because, like, that's like the more kind of like the emotional complexity. But like I said, that also encapsulates another thing I really like about Invincible, which is I think their fight scenes, like, again, nothing is as good as Japanese animation, but their fight scenes, what they lack in what I would call like beauty, they make up for. They are gruesome. I mean, they are really like the conquest fights. If you ever stick around, the conquest fights are like some of like. I have a high tolerance for violence, super high tolerance. Like it's a lot.
We grew up on Tarantino. We can deal with some shit.
Yeah, and their
conquest is another thing.
It's like, damn, dude. Like I'm like really kind of like, it's good. Like it's really impressive. Like how they make you feel it in a really cool way that I'm not even sure in like some of my favorite anime I've ever been, like feel the physicality of the fight as much
honestly, the only story I've ever seen that honestly compares to that level of violence, and it just got announced that it's going to get an anime here soon. It's called Kagurabachi. I binged the whole series on Shonen Jump, but it's going to come out as an anime soon. It's being done by MAPPA, the same people that do Jujutsu Kaisen, and it is going to be the sword version of Jujutsu Kaisen. And it starts out so much more violent because it starts with swords. So
Right. You're
He's
just
just
wait. What's the name of it, Tom?
Kagurabachi.
Okay.
Kagura Bachi. Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, and you said you just put this down.
Oh, I put that down in like a weekend.
Oh, this.
There's only like little over 100 chapters out right now.
Okay.
They just got to a big, kind of like a time skip point. They like got through the first major saga, and now they're doing like a background saga, and then I think after that they'll wrap it up. So it'll probably end up being about as long as Jujutsu Kaisen.
God, this looks sick.
It's sick as fuck. It is quite, like, I would say it is kind of just Jujutsu Kaisen with swords and without like cursed spirits, or at least I think with the most recent background chapters might throw a whole wrench into that, but we'll see how that goes. But it's really fucking good, and it is
violent.
It made Kill Bill look like a children's movie.
See, yeah, this is right up my alley. But and Invincible does a really good job of that, and it's like, and I think when you kind of add all this in together, where you have this like really sincere heart with Mark Grayson, you have this real sort of like violent aspect, you have this really sort of like love letter to superheroes. Just a lot of things being done on this show. We haven't even mentioned probably one of my favorite. I know it's one of your favorite characters, Mark's mother, Debbie. Another great like arc in the show. Like, you know, like she is probably my favorite character. I mean, I have so many favorite characters on Invincible, but she's probably up there. I didn't pick her as one of my.
She was my season 4 standout.
She's
I would say
so
that.
good.
Like, she may not be my favorite character in the whole show. That kind of goes back and forth, and I'm also kind of spoiled by the fact that I know where a lot of these characters are going. Keep an eye on Battle Beast. He's so much fun.
Battle Beast is great.
Battle Beast is just so much fun, and I'm telling you, spoiler alert, there's no growth to Battle Beast. He is who he is. Any growth would be disappointing in him, to be honest. Like,
Honestly,
he just wants to fucking fight, and he just wants to find the strongest dude, and he's like, if you're not strong enough, I'm going to kill you and move on.
And then I'm moving on. Man.
I'm moving on. And I love he got so mad at Alan. He's like, you promised me more fucking Viltrumites, man. Like, where are they?
He's very Hisoka coded in.
Yes.
He's like a more alpha E of Hisoka in Hunter x Hunter. Just like,
No,
I'm looking for good battle.
He's
baby.
almost like DBZ abridged Goku.
Yeah.
Like,
totally.
just a bloodthirsty version of that. Like, just like,
Yes,
I just want, where's the strong guy? I'm going to fight him. That's all that's my whole arc.
Tom, I gotta hop to. Can we pause this?
Oh, yeah.
I gotta talk to my parents for like 5
Talk
minutes.
about, mainly because I just wanted to talk about one of the characters, or one of the actors on the show, Jason Mantzoukas. He voices Rexplode on the show, who's essentially just a Gambit pastiche, but without the accent, he's just awesome.
Great character, great voice work by him.
Jason Mantzoukas apparently has a deep body of voice work I wasn't quite as aware of.
Well, and forget this is of the League fame, Jason Mantzoukas.
Yes, this is Rafi, guys. Like, everybody here knows who Jason Mantzoukas is. It's Rafi.
It's the greatest. Yeah.
In particular, I'd say the best thing he's done recently. He was on 2 seasons ago now of Taskmaster, which is a British reality show where a bunch of comedians do tasks for points. If you ever watch it, you'd be like, this seems a lot like Tom's Trivia. There's a fucking reason for that. I'm very much stealing a lot of stuff from Alex Horn. But his mantra on that show was destroy, dismantle, engulf in flames whenever possible. But he does a great job with his final scene. He does die in season 3.
Really good death.
Great death. And takes out someone who is significantly stronger than him, too. Which, when it comes to comics and superhero stuff, is not something you actually see all that often nowadays.
It's not. It's not. In fact, it's pretty rare.
It's a lot rarer now. Usually the thing that happens now, and I would say that this is both the concept itself of like beating someone stronger than you, and the like trope that gets around it nowadays, which is the training arc, both come from Dragon Ball. Because back in the day, Goku was regularly beating people that were stronger than him. He would like outsmart them, and then the Saiyan saga happens, and we decide like, no, we just need to like keep punching and getting stronger, and it always turns into, and to quote DBZ abridged, what if we hit him really, really hard?
I mean,
sure.
Whatever. Yeah, it's a really good. So his character is, like you said, it's kind of a Gambit stand-in. Kind of like the piece of shit with the heart of gold. It's an arc you're familiar with, but he has a really, I don't know, like, you know, it was a really. It's because I'm glad you brought this up, because I was thinking about some of my favorite deaths of all time on the like of things that really are good. Yeah, like, so obviously the captain in Attack on Titan comes to mind, but Jace, he has a really, and it's good because like he never like portrayed himself as a hero either. He kind of always had this more like, I'm just kind of a little galleon, you know, and then he has like a truly really heroic death. That's cool.
I like how his arc goes from like, he starts off being just kind of like a piece of shit teenager, not really taking responsibility for his actions, which you kind of expect from a teenage dude. He's kind of a douche, but he has a bit of a heart of gold. And then he kind of leans into the idea of just being a douche and just doing whatever he wants for himself, because as much as like he has a brief dalliance of trying to be nicer, and everybody he tries to be nice to is just like a dick to him. Just kind of understandable, because if you've been a dick for 5 years and you decide to suddenly be nice for a week, everybody's gonna be like, what the fuck is wrong with you, dude? Why are you being weird? We don't trust it. And just kind of lives for himself for a while, but then dies, like, you know, buying time for other heroes, saving someone else's life, and it all kind of... A big theme from Invincible is, like, the trauma of being a superhero changes your perspective, and he has a lot of traumatic moments and eventually changes his perspective to a more heroic one, but not necessarily one that I would say is, like, Captain America level heroic.
Correct. And I think it's cool, too, because it's very much like his death has this sort of, like, It's like you said, it's someone way more powerful. I don't want to say who it is exactly, but it's a very powerful person, and it truly is kind of like, it feels like it feels like, damn, like it's just a really good send off for his character.
Yeah, and I mean, this is true for the boys too. In a show where, spoiler alert, kind of everybody eventually dies except for like 3 people on both shows. I won't spoil who those 3 people are for each one, but. In a show, in sagas where there's a lot of death, Rex's death was very notable, and that's saying a lot. Like where death happens left and right, and you like true. Like I was remembering his death throughout this season, watching right now, even without like the trauma insights we got to like Adam Eve or Invincible or anything like that. Like I was thinking about Rex a lot.
And then Robot changes his name. There's just a lot of cool. Like there's like the show's done a good. Oh.
Sorry, sorry, Robot. Just Robot. We'll talk about him later.
Okay, but it's cool. Like it's it makes me feel like it's a good death, and one that is it's cool, and like it's pretty violent. He's got a cool power set. Like how he actually triggers it all, I think is really cool.
No, I mean Gambit's power set's really cool. Gambit has arguably one of the coolest moments in Avengers vs. X-Men. Because he at one point he tries to blow up Captain America's shield. Turns out his powers don't work on vibranium; they will bounce back at him, because that's just how vibranium works. So Gambit, being like the smart guy that he is, he's like, you know, I can't blow up organic material, but I can blow up Captain America's suit. And he's like, boom, got Cap. I'm the best. Cap stands up with like, you know, with no shirt on basically, and it's just like, okay, Gambit, you have my attention. That was clever. I like that. Now we're gonna fight.
Another thing that's with like Rex too, is, and this I think is like indicative of the show too, of just their ability to, like, so he has this ability to like, like he kind of uses his own rib. I feel like or doesn't he? Is his own? Doesn't do? How does he do it again? Do you remember exactly? It's kind of a cool little way how he triggers it too. Do you remember? I can't remember how he does it, but it's cool.
So, okay, so the key thing that we learned that's the difference between Rex's powers and Gambit's powers is that Rex can blow up organic material.
Yes, that's
yeah.
That's,
so
yes.
the first thing he does is that the person that he's fighting, I think if I remember this right, like rips out a rib from him,
yes,
and stabs him with it, and then he takes out the stabbed rib and stabs it at him, blows him up a little bit. Doesn't kill the dude, so he's like, well, if I can blow up my own rib, what about the rest of my skeleton? And
that's what he does.
That's what he does. Yeah.
And
it works. That's a big explosion.
It is worth calling out. This is kind of what I'm talking about with the show, where it's pretty violent. Like it's like a pretty, you're not going to see that in a lot of stuff. And
no, ever since Chaozu, we've kind of avoided the self-destruct.
Yeah, I know. Oh, don't remind me.
Yeah.
Nappa just, like, he just doesn't
even fucking care.
What the fuck? Like, it's like his armor just gets lightly denigrated, and that's like it. Yeah. But it is worth calling out, and this is something I wanted to talk to you about the show, like the animation. Like I said, it is violent. It is not as good as Japanese animation, and like I said, like they have the rib running out the conquest.
Now,
they're just not as pretty, and I wanted to get your read on why that is.
So there's a couple reasons on that, and I do want to give a shout out to especially this last season of Invincible. They took a lot of advantage of static shots and delivered a lot of powerful monologues and exchanges through that. And I think that was a really creative way to get around the issue of American animation that makes it difficult to have balls to the wall action all the time. At the end of the day, any animation is not going to have the budget to do that without taking, 3 to 4 years to build out their animation. The reason Invincible doesn't have Jujutsu Kaisen level animation, which is kind of like the gold standard for fighting animation right now, is two reasons. One, Invincible has a very different group of actors that they pull from for voice roles that cost a lot more money than the talent pool that is the voice actor community of anime. Because that's half the issue. Because Invincible's kind of built out a brand now because it's an American animation show that you expect some of these voice cameos. Like, I genuinely believe that Seth Rogen took the role of Alan the Alien to help save money on the show that he produces. That's gotta be part of it. Like, it's a name that a lot of people will recognize. I'm sure Seth Rogen was like, I'd love to do a role, and they were also like, we should do a role that'll stick around for a while to, like, save us a little bit of money on stuff, because, like, you could have easily had Seth Rogen play one of the Guardians of the Globe in season 1, and then he gets murked, and...
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that's a good theory, Tom.
Yeah, that's my theory on why Seth Rogen is playing Alan the Alien of all people. It's also entirely possible that when he was reading the comics, that was his favorite character, and that's why.
Sure, but I mean, you're dead right that, like, I mean, because that's, like, we've called it out, like, the voice work in the show is incredible.
It is top notch, and I will say, there's a worrying trend in American animation to avoid voice actors and just hire actors to do a voice.
Yes,
the very worst example of that is Chris Pratt as Mario in the Mario movie. Which is even more atrocious when you have Keegan-Michael Key doing a Toad voice, like who actually does voice work as an actor. Like, I don't know how that doesn't drive him crazy. That paycheck's got to be really fucking nice to be able to ignore that as an artist. Which, more power to you. But like it's for Invincible, they do, like, whenever they're casting someone, it feels like it matches the role, and they're giving their all in these voice acting things. Like,
they do.
Chris Pratt as Mario's just doing Chris Pratt's voice, which I can hardly blame the man for that.
Yeah, I agree.
But when it comes to Invincible, everybody's giving their all, and I've seen a few of the um what's the word I'm looking for? Like the audio booth recordings of the actors in the scene, and they get active into it. Like they get direction and stuff, and that's kind of an important thing for voice acting. Is like if you're not like if you're delivering a line while throwing a punch in animation, it helps to deliver that punch while you're recording it because your body changes. It changes how you do things. Yeah, and that feels very prevalent throughout Invincible, and it's something that I have seen. Like, but at the same time, do we really need to hire Bobby Moynihan for 3 lines as Tech Jacket's dad?
Probably not.
Probably not. As much as I love Bobby Moynihan, and everybody should go see, or everybody should be watching the Fall and Rise of Reggie Dinkins just for him. Could have saved us some money. Could have had a longer fight with Thrag, maybe.
You are dead right, though, that, like, Invincible does have this weird brand where it's like, come here to watch, like, really cool people do voice work.
Yes.
You know, it's just a weird, you know, like, it's like a unique, like, place in American media. Like, you just don't see a lot of places where it's like, we're an animated show.
Yeah.
Where
It's this and Rick and Morty.
Yeah,
that's
right.
it. It's the only other place I really see that.
Morty didn't start with it. It was started with like just
Rick and Morty didn't start getting like big names until probably like season 3.
Right, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like they were out of the gate with Stephen Yeun, Sandra Oh, J.K. Simmons. I mean, it is kind of innovative.
Yeah, that helped solidify it as like something nicer. But like I would say the cameos didn't really start until probably like season 2 of Invincible, which is still relatively early for a show like that. But you know, at the same time, having Seth Rogen as your producer helps a lot with that because
it does. Yeah, I mean, he's such a good plug to have. He seems, I mean, as far as I can tell, he seems to be a very liked dude in the industry. Yes, I think he's just a likable guy. I mean, I think he's just like a cool. But it is another thing that you brought up, Tom. Though is interesting, where it's like, you do bring up because the voice work is amazing, but. We watch a lot of Japanese anime. We've seen great. I mean, those voice guys and women all do great work too. You know what I'm saying? Like they're out. I don't even know the language, and I'm like, dude, this is. I always watch it on subtitles, not dubs. But they're so emotive. It's like really compelling, even though I don't know the language.
Yeah, when it comes to like the anime pool of people, it's unmatched. Like. Christopher Sabat alone has delivered some of the greatest roles of all time, and like he doesn't. I mean, he changes, and they're all very different voices, but they're also still all the same voice. What he does is truly incredible shit.
Yes,
it's the difference. So like at worst on Invincible, you'll have like someone that's like a probably like a okay performance, like a cameo of some sort. Usually people would be good. You get a few grades with like J.K. Simmons and Sandra Oh. But then you go to like Jujutsu Kaisen or even something like Black Clover, and the voice acting on that is good to great across the board.
Right. And then, but it's like if you could make it more economically viable to have some, like these great voice actors who don't command. I mean, J.K. Simmons alone, his voice, what they have to pay him to do his voice work is probably what they pay everyone on JJK. Literally, right? It has to be.
Well, that's actually reason number 2 on why American animation doesn't do as much as Japanese animation. Pay is a big part of it.
Okay.
So I gotta make sure I'm remembering this right. I do think that so outside of like Mappa and A1, whatever animation studio you're using is usually paying its animators less than $2 an hour. And that's okay.
Wait, what?
Yeah, because they don't get animated in Japan. Mappa might not be part of this. Mappa might be part of the problem. I can't remember whether they are. I think A1 and Wit is doing the new One Piece edit, for Netflix. I think they're okay, and I think A1 is okay. Mappa might be okay. But yeah, they usually do this animation in like Thailand or something for dirt cheap. Invincible doesn't do that. They still don't pay super great, and they're still on super tight budgets because it's America and stuff, but it is technically like not as good. Or technically
So
not great.
they're working these people to the bone.
Animators are the most abused people in the entertainment industry right now, without a doubt.
I mean, I will say the stuff. So, are you saying that there's an element of like it's just like American, like the?
Yeah,
I
I gotta double
was
check on this.
understanding like, okay, so are you saying that like in America they're just not willing to, like they're
At the end of the day,
labor law-
America's not willing to pay for good animation. Period. Like,
Yeah.
if they're going to start cutting the budget, they're going to start cutting animation first.
I see what you're saying. Okay, gotcha. Which you do feel. I mean, like it just doesn't. It's just like if you just have watched Japanese animation, like it is so much more dynamic, colorful. It's amazing. Like it really is like stunning to watch. Where like this just doesn't have that level of like pop, you know.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, well that's really telling, Tom. 'Cause I've always wondered like why we just don't have what, you know, like obviously said JJK, but Demon Slayer has some great stuff. And each anime, I will say too, what's really amazing about it is they have this sort of like, I want to say almost like each anime has its own like kind of aesthetic, how the people move. Like JJK looks a lot different than Attack on Titan, which is a lot different than Demon Slayer, which, you know, like they all have this like
Yes.
really impressive sort of like look to the show. And you know, like whereas like Invincible definitely has like an aesthetic that you've seen in some capacity before. You know, like it just doesn't look as like striking as
Invincible, as much as I love it, it does, the animation style does look like an HD version of Avatar.
totally 100%. Yes, like I couldn't agree more with that. Yep, and it's like it's kind of like that. It's not a washed out color palette, but it's a pretty like palette, like a lighter tones, and like the movement isn't
Safe.
super fluid. Like it's a little kind of like, you know.
Yeah, it's a lot choppier. That, and a lot of that has to do with cheaper animation, shorter time schedules, budget, and all that type of crap.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm looking at it. JJK has 160K per episode versus 2.5 million for Invincible.
Say that again.
So on a per episode budget, Invincible has $2.5 million per episode.
Okay, 2.5.
Jujutsu Kaisen has 160K.
That is unbelievable.
So that unfortunately does tell me that Mappa is part of the problem, and they're using the cheap ass animation. But
yes,
there's still highly specialized studios that focus solely on this in super pressure environments, which are not good and terrible in so many different ways. But sometimes abuse creates great art, and that's just an unfortunate fact of life.
It really is. I mean, Tom, you are dead right. It's like one of those weird. I call them Russian short story truths. Like it was like
That's
like you're like Family Guy when it's like the Russian cartoons. The shoe is used worthless without the shoelace. The end. That's kind of like great art, Ellenco. But
oh yeah, that's the fucking overcoat. Yeah, I remember that fucking story. God damn.
Yeah, but anyway, okay, well that's really telling because I never knew, and that makes a lot of sense and is interesting, very interesting. Well, Tom, should we get into the combine?
Yep, let's get into the combine. Let's get into the fun part here.
Combine, okay. For a draft that we're not sure is ever going to come.
Yep, for the future superhero / comic book character / nerdy group draft that will eventually someday do. Could be years down the line. Could be a couple weeks from now. Who fucking knows?
Feel free to use our comps, though, baby.
These are all official comps. This is not us. This is no longer us just talking smack. We are now officially using stats and shit.
Yes, we're on it now. Like we're grinding tape, Billy. You'd be proud.
We're grinding tape, Billy. We're worse than Billy Buckets right now.
We're grinding that tape. So yeah, essentially we're going to do a combine type approach. We're going to be ranking these people There are a variety of different skills, kind of like their voice. For Invincible, we're looking at their voice acting, look at their power set, and just kind of talk about like if you're rounding out a team, why these people are valuable. And we'll be doing, I think, 2 each, right? 2 from each episode, Tom?
Yeah, 2 from each show. Yeah, yeah.
Nice. Okay, so let's start with you first.
Oh, you want to start with me first? Okay. So I'll start with. I'm going to start with Nolan today.
Okay.
From Invincible. Nolan, also known as Omni-Man, is Mark's dad on Invincible. He is a full-blooded Viltrumite. He is several thousand years old. He has got speed and strength, arguably comparable to Superman, depending on what era of Superman you're talking about. A fun little side fact: he once fought another Superman pastiche from Image Comics called Supreme to a standstill, which is a fun little crossover that they did. We'll do an Image episode in the future to talk about Invincible more someday, because the comics make it so much crazier. Hold on, let me pull up the Notion note.
I can't. Oh, I can't wait to see. Okay, I'm looking at your Nolan notes right now.
Yeah. Okay. So we are dividing up how we're talking about the Invincible characters, both by their performance and their power set. And we'll do something similar for the boys. So I was looking through my stats for Nolan for his voice acting matrix. I gave him a vocal identity of 3. And I think that it's twofold. One, Nolan hasn't had to display a whole lot of emotions yet in the series. Season 4 was a big step forward for him. Like that took him from a 2 to a 3, in my opinion. Yeah. Because before he was mostly either nervous because people were going to find out that he was a traitor to Earth or Viltrum, or he was angry. Those were basically his 2 emotions. This season, we get a lot more remorse, we get a lot more guilt, we get a lot more shame, and now he's actually atoning for those things. He kind of alluded to these feelings before in previous seasons on Thraxa and while in jail, but this is the first time we actually see him really acting out on these things, and most importantly, in my opinion, making amends with Debbie, who
he's really dirty.
Debbie is his ex-wife now on the show, Mark's mom. She's been given a lot more to do on the show versus what she had in the comic, which I love, especially with the fact that they casted Sandra Oh to be her voice actress. I gotta say, when it comes to like the early seasons of Grey's Anatomy, those hit kind of hard. That's some pretty good fucking TV.
You're talking to Leslie's favorite TV show of all time.
Oh yeah, when Derek Shepherd dies, you should just stop watching the show. But everything from the beginning to the end is some high quality TV.
Leslie loves it. I mean, she could talk about it that's a staple of her life.
Oh, that's fun.
Anyway, yeah. So you said Vickle. I agree. The thing that I really liked about Nolan is I think it's interesting you gave him total score. So it's 1 to 5 across physicality, character, voice. You gave him a 5 on physicality, which I thought was interesting. What did you think about physicality?
The physicality for that one, I'm giving at. So I did want to explain that one. That's because one of the videos I've seen of people like in the voice booth, like I saw J.K. Simmons doing the think mark. And he had his veins popping. I was worried about that old man for a hot second there. Like, he was screaming into that microphone.
He's committed to the bit.
He committed to the bit. He's full on, like, acting as if it's his role and stuff. I do think for Invincible, a little bit, they may try to, like... I know they do the animation usually before the voice acting. Or maybe they do it differently now. I'm not really sure, but... I know that they are at least matching some of the animation to the expressions that they're giving, which is a big part of what makes Invincible great. They're not quite doing rotoscoping like in the old Lord of the Rings animated movies. But there's some actual physicality to this. That's also why I gave him a 5 for character voice to symmetry, because he's
That I do think is crazy. I think his character voice, like, he just is so, like, his baritone and, like, there's such, like, an intimidation to his voice is literally threatening. It sounds
at all times. Like, even when he's being nice, you're still scared.
Yes. So that's why I really feel like I honestly feel like if when they were making the show, they started there, like I said, J.K. Simmons, he's Nolan, and then like that, you just start there, and then you just can go
So, fun fact, they called J.K. Simmons for a different role. They called him for Cecil, apparently.
Did they really?
Yeah, I just saw Robert Kirkman just did a podcast with those the guys that do the nerdy podcast. If you've ever seen the dude crash out on Last Jedi, because the guy's inconsistent in his take on it. If you've ever seen the dude where he's like, "Who cares? You do. You just said." If you've ever seen that clip, it's that group. It's those two guys. They're very funny. I disagree with most of their takes, but they can be very funny at times. Yeah, they're clear. I don't know exactly what age they are, but they're clearly like early 20s dudes that are like, at least one of the dudes, he's just brain dead takes on a lot of stuff. But they had Robert Kirkman on because they've gotten a big enough following, and they asked him, like, so did you consider J.K. Simmons for anybody else? And he's like, I don't know if I want to get into it or whatever. And they're like, well, because I was thinking, like, he'd make a good Cecil, and then, like, Robert Kirkman spits up his coffee, and he's just like,
no.
He may have been called for that. Maybe. I don't know. For Cecil. Cecil would have been a good one for J.K. Simmons, but he's so much better as Omni-Man.
Yeah, I agree, because I think of it as, like, the exercise I do is, like, okay, if you flipped him, Walter Goggins is
he can't be Omni-Man.
Would not work.
No, that doesn't work. That doesn't work at all.
I could definitely see why you make the J.K. Simmons to Cecil thing, but...
Because I could see Nolan... I could see, like, a Kurt Russell doing Nolan.
Oh, yep. Agreed. That's a good call.
Like, that would be an interesting... That'd be... Because that's a meta level as well of having, like, an old-school action star to play...
Yes.
Like, that type of role.
Yeah, that could work as well. But, yeah, I mean, I just think his voice work is... Yeah. Second. I mean, yeah. And I think he's probably, of everyone... I think he's my favorite voice acting performance, except maybe for Sandra Oh. I think I'm going those two.
I picked him because of the Combine thing. I get to talk about his powers and stuff. I was going to pick Debbie, but I figured picking him would do a lot to talk about Debbie as well.
Yeah, I mean,
because I get to talk about his emotional range too, and that one, again, it went from a 3 to a 4 this season because he finally got to express more emotions. I said something wrong about vocal identity. I should have mentioned that, like, it's still very clearly J.K. Simmons, but I feel like that works for this role.
I know, I agree. It is weird where it's like, I get what you're going with that. It does, but that's like what you're saying is the show was almost like branded as this, like, we're going to take big name actors and have them do voice work. It was kind of a weird, so it's like, it almost, you don't want this, like, distinct vocal identity because the show's like, this is J.K. Simmons. He's doing you know what I'm saying? Like, it wouldn't work. You're not going to pay all that money to then have J.K. Simmons do some weird voice where you don't recognize it's him,
Yes. Yeah. Which it's the same with the Mario movie. Like, when you hired Chris Pratt, you're not going to expect him to really go, "It's me, Mario." Because why are you paying Chris Pratt money to do that when you could pay an actual voice actor half that and get a better voice?
Yeah, I mean, serious. But on the so Nolan's obviously a first-round pick for sure.
He's clearly a big first-round pick. Any Superman pastiche is an early first-round pick, in my opinion, when it comes to a draft like this.
There's
Speed, strength, durability, all 5s. Intellect, I gave him a 3 because he's not super smart, but he is tactically smart enough to realize, like, because here's the thing about Nolan. He's smart enough to know when to retreat and stuff. Like, he's a good leader for the group.
No, he was, and like he has some stuff going on. Like I agree. Like, I think a 3 is dead right for me. Great. 'Cause, you can build a team around him. He just might murder your entire team.
No.
So just
he could fuck up very easily. And he has several times. Like, his early adventures in the season with Alan trying to get all the like Viltrumite killing stuff did not go super great.
It didn't. Yeah.
Part of that was because of the very funny Patrick Stewart ripoff that they had. I would have paid. Man, if I was Seth Rogen, I would have thrown so much money at Patrick Stewart to do that role just to fully commit to the bit.
I know.
Because Patrick Stewart can play that funny role really well. Because
he's hilarious.
American Dad, very underrated. Like American Dad's got some funny fucking shit in there.
I have never watched an American Dad episode from start to finish, but I know that Bennett's a secret American Dad guy too. I know.
Yeah, Chris is a big one. I remember Chris has watched like all of it.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Nolan, great pick. Love him. Yeah, I can't really disagree with any of this. This is a top on the board pick for me. I'm going to go in another direction on my combine selection here, guy I've been scouting. This is a late round guy. You know,
I like this one. This is a sleeper pick.
You're not going to be rounding out your team. This is a round out your team guy. He's a role player. You know, this is Machine Head. So for Machine Head, voiced by Jeffrey Donovan of Burn Notice. Ian, you'll know Burn Notice. All-time great.
Burn Notice.
I love Jeffrey Donovan. I think he's pretty much great in everything. And the cool thing about Machine Head that I really like from the voice side, so I gave his voice acting, I gave a 5 on vocal identity, 4 on emotional range, 3 on character to voice symmetry, and a 4 on the physicality, which is all pretty high. Looking back, I'm going to change his emotional range to a 3. But overall, I want to talk about, it's cool that they've used, so he's a literal machine head. He's got a robot as he's like, is he a human body on a machine head? Is that his thing?
So he's basically like a cyborg at this point. Okay. I'm pretty sure he starts off as just a dude with a helmet, but the helmet becomes kind of like a part of him.
Yes. So he's literally just a guy with a literal robot head. He's got a cool little head. It looks like a little like computer chip on his head.
It looks like Daft Punk.
Yeah, it looks a lot. Yeah, great call. It looks like just like Daft Punk. But the cool thing about his voice work is they auto-tune it. So it'll kind of like, he'll be talking in normal voice, and then it will, especially in moments of like major emotion, it'll go, like it'll auto-tune.
Yeah.
And it's just a cool little, I've never seen auto-tune used in that way before, and I thought that was a cool idea around, like, we're going to take like a functionally, a robot-ish character and use auto-tune in that way. Like, usually you have robots talk like this, and I will be.
Yeah,
it's like,
very monotone, which we'll get to in a second.
It's more like expressive and like that auto tune layers of robot. I really like it. I wish more. There's so much like cyborg stuff out there, cyborg robot stuff. I think more people need to make use of that little trick that they did. I thought it was really cool.
Yeah, I'd compare him to, I guess, Brendan Fraser on Doom Patrol. He doesn't have the cool like auto tune moments that they give Jeffrey Donovan in this, but at least Brendan Fraser gets to like, he's not just a monotone robot voice as the robot in Doom Patrol. Like, he does get to like go up and down and stuff, which is kind of cool. And I do like that, like a lot of the auto tune moments kind of, they inflect when he like raises his voice and stuff like that. Like, it almost seems like a design flaw in the thing when he gets emotional and stuff. Like,
yes, that's a good point. It almost sounds like a voice crack. Almost.
Yeah.
It's cool. They use it in a really cool way. Now, the thing about Machine Head, if you're looking to draft him, he's not really bringing a lot to the table. And he's, I don't think I gave him a 2 for strength, 2 for speed.
No, he's not a bruiser in any way, shape, or form, or a gadget guy. I gave him
a 5 for intellect, but the other thing that we didn't have in the power section is he kind of needs to be the alpha, so he's functionally going to have to be kind of like your brainiac.
Yeah,
like the guy.
He's a brainy leader. He's almost like he's not as smart as Tony Stark, but he's a Tony Stark type of leader.
Right.
Where he's scheming and coming up with plans for the whole group. He can't just be like a backseat dude for it.
Right, and that's the problem where it's like, if I'm getting this guy in a late round, is he going to accept like a part-time role? Or like, can you be a role player, Machine Head? That's what I need you to be.
Yeah, because Tony Stark can work great as a support player as well and be super smart. He doesn't have to be a leader, and that's what you would want Machine Head to do. Right.
Like, I don't know if I feel great about Machine Head as my leader, which is what he wants to be. But if I could get Machine Head just like running the calculations, like letting someone else be my leader, but he's kind of in the background formulating the plans. Like that's good value if you can get Machine Head to get on that.
He's a great super flex pick, but you don't want him to be your QB1.
Exactly, Tom. Exactly. You're hoping a lot from your super flex here.
Yeah,
but could really bear fruit. So.
He could be a great asset.
Donovan too.
Jeffrey Donovan's just fucking fantastic.
Amazing actor, amazing career, amazing actor. Love him to death.
Yeah.
Okay, so who's your next guy?
So my next guy is a very similar type of role here.
It's funny how we both ended up like this.
Yeah, no, this guy I'm talking about because in particular he's going to be very important in later seasons of the show.
Oh, nice.
Yes. That's why I was starting to freak out when you talked about him changing his name. So the guy I'm talking about today is Rex/Robot. He was originally named Rudy. Robot is sort of a teenage Iron Man. He's very much the whole like teenage group of superheroes in Invincible are kind of ripped off of Marvel characters / the Avengers. Robot is a super highly intelligent human with a robot suit of armor that he uses to create a bunch of drones. But originally, he is a very malformed baby that would basically die if exposed to regular oxygen and stuff.
Yeah.
He spends his whole life kind of in like a big giant test tube for a while and starts building robots to help the world and take advantage of his intellect. Then eventually clones himself using Rexplode, which is a whole other can of worms. It's weird. It's a weird move.
Like that.
Yeah,
it's a weird thing.
We learned a little bit more down the line that like Robot doesn't exactly relate to humans the same way the rest of us with empathy do. He's a weird one. But part of that comes with having such an advanced intellect and stuff. Like there's a ton of, again, not to just keep harping on Iron Man, but there's a ton of Iron Man stories where Tony straight up says like, I know I do all this good with the Avengers and stuff, but that's only because I know logically that it's good, but I also know that logically I could do a lot of really good stuff if I ignored everybody else and just did whatever I wanted and ignored ethics and what people wanted and stuff like that. And he wrestles with that every day with should I just, I could become president of the United States overnight if I wanted to and have everybody love me while I'm doing it, honestly, and is it right for me to do it that way?
Correct. And like Robot definitely struggles with that. So I was interested you picked him because I think his voice performance is good, or were you more just interested in the character itself?
I'm more interested in the character himself, but I do enjoy a lot of what the voice actor has been doing with Robot so far, because it's very clear that he knows where Robot's going. And he's yeah, it's kind of like telling Alan Rickman what always means during the first Harry Potter movie. Like knowing where that goes, you kind of inform your performance a little more.
Gotcha.
So I've seen a lot of things that like hint to that type of stuff, but a big thing for me is that he's been able to carve out more of a vocal identity on the show than almost anybody else, despite having that monotone voice. When he's able to switch back to Rex and stuff, I think he does a really good job of that.
It's a good point. I hadn't thought of it, but you are right about that. I do find it interesting where, like you said, like there are moments, because I'm thinking about his relationship with Monster Girl. Like there are moments where you can really like feel him being like, I'm really like the vulnerability of like, I'm trying here.
No, I think the Monster Girl's the best example. Like he tries to cure her condition without asking her if she wants to be cured or whatever. And that's like he's like, I know that would make sense, that you would be happier without it and things would be easier, but she's like, but then I can't help people. And yeah.
Yes. And I think that's the voice work that he's done a really good job. Also, he's got an interesting power set too. Like he's a pretty strong guy. Like
he is. Like his for Rudy himself or Rex himself is basically just a normal human, but this is a guy that's like, it's almost like he's read Iron Man comics and he's like, Why doesn't he just come in with an army of drones every single fucking time? And
Like,
that's
those
exactly
are-
what he does. And
those are
he gets a
drones.
durability of 5 for that because he's just like, hey, did I kill the right one? Nope. Okay, I just got to keep plowing through all these other robots.
Drones are great.
Drones are useful.
They're really useful.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's really pretty strong. The other thing that's nice about Robot 2 is he started as like in an ancillary role, took a leadership role. I actually think his leadership run was pretty solid. I think he kind of got dealt a shit hand. I still trust him in a leadership capacity. Oh no, man, you don't. Oh god, I don't like these voices. Oh no,
I'm trying really hard.
Oh
Really
god,
hard here, man.
no.
Robot makes some choices. Remember, I need you to remember what just happened to Robot 2. So he got stranded in the Flaxen dimension.
Yes.
Remember that the Flaxen dimension time moves different.
Oh fuck me, I know. Oh no. Oh my boy, I'm nervous. I don't want to talk about Robot anymore. It's good value.
It's good value. He's a great pick. He's a good like, say like a good 4th round pick. He's a guy that you would want as like your QB1. He's a great one to get late if you're not in a Superflex league too, because a lot of people would sleep on him.
I agree with that. Like he's good. Like he could be that classic, like RB2 or a wide receiver 2 who ends up being the best player on your team. You know, like there's real worlds where that happens. He's got a lot of, but oh boy,
he just needs a nice moral balance to add to him. That's all.
Oh
just
boy.
needs someone to remind him that people are things.
He needs a Mark Grayson.
He needs a Mark Grayson. That's exactly. Yeah, no, he needs a Mark Grayson.
Okay, well that's good for anyone building out a team. Keep that in mind. Sounds like he's about to fuck some shit up. I'm a little nervous now.
Yeah, keep an eye on Ruby or Rex or whatever.
So my next guy, my Superman pastiche. I don't want to talk to about his power set too much because he's fundamentally more powerful than he's the most powerful guy in the show. He's also got powered up, right? He wasn't as powerful in the comic, right? Tom?
Okay, I want to double check on this. You're talking about Thrag?
Yeah.
Okay, because you put your notes under Thetis.
Oh shit, you're right. Yeah,
no, you're fine. They're both the 2 most powerful Viltrumites because they're the oldest. But yes, Thrag.
Right.
My boy Thrag. I'm excited to talk Thrag.
So like I said, I don't want to spend too much time on his power set. Again, he's the strongest guy in the show.
He's got all the same powers as Nolan, but he's like 1,000 years older. And when it comes to Viltrumites, the older you are, the stronger you are.
Right. So he's super strong. Pretty much, this is a first rounder. This is your first overall pick.
This is a first overaller.
This is Josh Allen. This is who we're talking about here. I want to talk about his voice. Like, you're getting good value on the voice side of the house, though, because I actually thought he was doing John Malkovich. I know I texted you. I was like, I didn't even look it up because he just sounds so much like John Malkovich in this. There's such he's like the Grand Regent of. So he's essentially they call him Grand Regent, but he's just functionally the king,
the Emperor.
Yeah, the Emperor King would use whatever yours. I do like Grand Regent as a term.
It's a good.
He has this real regality in his performance that I really like. Like he sounds like really like above it all and like commanding and authoritative and honestly just
he sounds
really
like
royal.
Hamlet. That's what I've always noticed. Like he's giving. It sounds like Lee Pace is just doing Hamlet quotes, even though I know that. Yeah.
Yes. So I like. I think the physicality is good. The character to voice symmetry I think is really good. Where I did ding him is the emotional range. Like he hasn't given me a ton yet. He's kind of stayed in the same sort of like I'm above it all sort of thing.
At this point in the story, that's a good thing, I'd say. Like if anything, I'd give him a 2 right now for emotional range. But if provided everything pans out the way it is, that would bump up to a 4 almost.
Oh, so he's got some stuff going on.
He's going to have some stuff happen.
Interesting.
What were you gonna say? Well, no, so Thrag doesn't always make the best decisions.
Really?
He just he thinks he thinks he just won, but he did not win.
Oh, So for folks who don't know, Thrag is essentially argued for like a detente with Earth, where he's like, hey, we're going to chill here, rebuild our population because it's nearly at 0, and we just won't tear through your entire planet. That's kind of the world he's in right now.
Yep. So there's 40 some odd Viltrumites just chilling on Earth that could rip it in half at any given moment. Any one of them, really.
Truly.
And They are secretly hiding out on Earth, just fucking their way, or their mission is to just fuck as much as they can and make as many Viltrumites as they can. And, you know, that's the plan.
Oh boy, man, there's some shit coming up. But
there's one Viltrumite in particular who gets dragged on all the time, and he's going to get dragged on even more in upcoming seasons, and I can't fucking wait for it. It's going to be so funny.
I can't wait for it either. But I will say, Thrag, new introduced in the season 4, really liked it. So you said Ronan Pace, is the voice actor. You said he's done this before on another.
The voice that Lee Pace is doing for Thrag is very similar to the voice that he did for Ronan in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Okay.
But I would say like there's a subtle difference there that you pointed out, where there's more regality in Thrag, whereas Ronan was kind of more of a religious fanatic. Those are two very similar roles, and that difference is very subtle. But I do think that there is a difference there.
Okay, interesting. Well, that's so I have my one guy you could build a team around. You can build a team around Thrag. Sounds like the decision making might get a little sketchier here in late seasons, but and then I have my machine. Also,
when you live for thousands of years, you can make a few mistakes.
That's true. I make a few mistakes every couple days, so I know that life. Well, nice. Well, Tom, as always, we've gone about 30 minutes longer than we should have.
Yeah, about what we normally do.
Yeah, it's hard for us to stay, but I think we tried to stay on track.
We did. This one was hard. We haven't had a chance. We haven't really had a chance to talk about either of these shows lately, and
yeah, I know.
And I still have so much I could talk about. Yeah,
I know. Seriously, I could go, but I will say for that future combine or that future draft, take Tom and I
keep these notes. Yeah, so our big picks, I'd say Thrag and Soldier Boy. I'd say those are the two big ones from this.
Agreed. Yes, keep those in mind if you're looking to build out. I would just say, too, if you're looking for it, keep an eye out for Sister Sage for late round value.
Yep, Sister Sage is a great round value. I'd say the same for Machine Head, too.
Yes, Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. We got your teams people you can build around and then people you want to round out with. Well, Tom, as always, love doing this with you. Wouldn't want to do anything else on a Sunday night than talk some nerd stuff with you. Next topic up? Do we know yet?
It'll either be like WB Paramount, or we might do the Daredevil episode, depending on when we finally get time to do these things. The point is, it's not the anime episode yet. Cannot wait for that one though.
The anime episode will be probably
that's our finale.
It's our finale. Probably be sometime in July. I'm thinking.
Yeah, I'd love to go. I'd love to do like mid-July for that one, and then I can go into the Bennett pod because I obviously have to start with that.
Right, of course, that's a given. We'll start that sometime in August. So yeah, like sometime mid-July. So yeah, I would love if everyone else has. I would love to get Ian on the WB Paramount, just on the business side. It'd be really. I'd
love to hear Dan dive into that and see if he wants to offer thoughts. I know he's a brand new dad. Congratulations to the Schlesers. But if you got time to look into that and see if that deal makes any sense to you from a financial standpoint, which is really interesting. I saw something the other day that now Paramount is going to be 49% owned by foreign companies, Saudi Arabia.
I saw that. That's the new thing. I know. It's a lot of Saudi money, of course. Sketchy for sure.
Super sketch.
I can't say I feel great about that deal. It's like everything I hear is just more and more like.
No,
anyway.
As a whole, it's bad. But the only upside to it that I see is that it's not sustainable. Like, I was worried when Discovery bought Warner Brothers, they were forced to sell it after like 3 years. So I feel like the Paramount deal would go even faster.
That's fair. Well, Tom, I appreciate you, brother. You're the man.
You too, buddy. Love talking to you.
Take it easy.
You too. See you, buddy. For listening to The Scuttle. We are currently sponsored by nobody. Music performed and mixed by Digital Women. Look them up on their SoundCloud, and all hail our champion commissioner. We also have video versions of this on YouTube, so be sure to subscribe there. And as always, be kind to each other, and may the source bless this league.